My name is Tom from Weapons Education at a very somber place right now in my backyard in Parkland, Florida. And you're about to watch a video of my thoughts of what could be done. It was difficult to make this video. I'm surrounded by hundreds of people. And it's hard to discuss gun laws in front of some parents who lost their children and everyone here who's just so absolutely distraught. So here we go forward with the video. My name is Tom, your host with Weapons Education, and if you've seen my previous video, you know this hits me very close to home, as my home is Parkland, and I'm going to give some ideas to help prevent this type of action to ever happen again. It's absolutely horrific, and my prayers go out to all the victims and families, the community here. Please pan around, my friend is here, and show the backdrop of all the crosses. And as we have the sun setting on a somber day, I'm going to give some suggestions, and then I'd like you to throw in your comments and your ideas on what we can do to prevent this to ever happening again. First of all, let me start off by saying, fathom if this was a terrorist attack and 10 whack jobs who had a grievance against the country attacked the school at once. So my thought is, we need to protect our children. As you know, my daughter was in the elementary school just next door to the high school. You see my previous video, the panic I was in. Their future high school, both my daughters, is Douglas. So we have to think about protecting the students indoors, and how do we do that? Here's some ideas, and you throw in your ideas. 1 of every 10 teachers get armed, trained, and they go to a training facility 2 weeks a year to stay trained and have the mental capacity to protect the students. 2, with all our valuable children, our future of the United States, in the schools, we all have to agree that there should be a law enforcement to protect our children. Retired military can be there, and law enforcement and trained civilians could even be there as volunteers, as long as they pass a certain level of training that they've had. Every entrance of every school in America, here we are in 2018, with the modern technology we have, I think we have the ability, obviously, to make sure that all the doors do not allow the wrong people in, meaning we can electronically lock them and only allow people out, and do not allow people in except through the front, where they get scanned, and make sure that the people entering the building are supposed to be there, whether they're parents picking up the children, teachers, or students, or law enforcement. I can't think of anyone else who should be in a school. So we have to have those doors somehow monitored electronically, not to let people in. And we have to also have each door have a law enforcement officer. Who's going to pay for it? Both the state and the federal government. Now, of course, this is a tough video to make in this situation. The mental health issues need to be addressed. The shooter in this case had the law enforcement the man lived about a mile from where I'm standing, the shooter, law enforcement was at his house at least 40 times. The FBI was notified not once by some a YouTube channel who he left a horrific statement admitting he was going to do something like this. They had not just one tip, but two tips. They had a tip just a few weeks prior to the shooting, they acknowledged today, and they didn't follow up on that. So that, to me, is gross negligence on the FBI's part. All of us as adults, and even we tell our children, as I tell my children, you see something wrong, you tell law enforcement, you tell the FBI, you tell your adults. And in this case, they were told, the FBI was told twice, they were not doing their job. Gross negligence. The FBI did not follow through. So I don't know why that happened. I know there'll be a lot of comments on that. Now, mental health issues need to be addressed. We have things called HIPAA laws in Florida, which, not to get too detailed, but a lot of people are afraid to go to see a psychiatrist because they're afraid they're going to lose some of their rights, such as their Second Amendment rights, if they tell a psychiatrist their problems. This has to be addressed. So if there's any laws that have to be changed, it's mental health issue laws. You know, it's already illegal to obviously kill people, and it's already illegal to do horrific things like this man did. So laws aren't going to change it. But if we can assist mentally ill people when they're younger, and let's talk about that. When you were younger, when I can think when I was a young child, growing up in the 70s, I would go out and play on my bicycle and do things like that. Today, children they're on their Facebook, they're on their Twitter accounts, they're on their cell phone, and we're growing up in a different society today. I think that has to be looked at. We need more family morals. And what's so strange is this community in Parkland has more family morals than any other city in the state. And I'm not just saying that because I live here. I'm saying that because it happens to be the safest city in the state of Florida. And that's not me saying that, that's fact. It's an equestrian community, it's a loving community, and to let this whack job, I'll call him, slip through the cracks was a horrific mistake by the 40 calls to law enforcement. It was also a horrific mistake by the FBI getting all these tips and not following through. Now, talking more about youngsters growing up with social media being their main focus, things we didn't have when I was a child. My main focus was to go out and ride a bicycle and play, and my parents wouldn't have to worry about me. Myself, with a 10 and 12-year-old daughter, I wouldn't let them ride a bicycle in today's society, and I would be concerned about their safety. So we have to look at more family morals. And what about the medicines that are given to young children today? The Ritalin type medicines for ADHD when these children are 5, 7, 9, 10 years old. I think, my personal opinion, my First Amendment right, throw in your comments, are some of these medications prescribed to make pharmaceutical companies become billionaires and billionaires, and psychiatrists and doctors to get richer and richer? I'm not sure about that. But it's just things I'm throwing out there for you to discuss, and throwing out ideas for us to become a better country. So our youth grows up with the morals that I certainly had when I was a child. As a matter of fact, both of my daughters were born in a hospital in West Boca, and I was shocked to find out a statistic, which was 60% of the children being born in that hospital are being born without parents having this on their finger, a wedding ring, being born out of wedlock. That's something we have to look into also, is to get more morals in the country, for family morals, for marriage, and we need to bring God back into schools. With all that said, We know what the liberals and the Democrats want. They want what was done in Australia in 1996, a full gun confiscation. Obviously, it takes a human being to make a gun work, and that is not the answer to not allow people to defend themselves. The answer is some of the things I mentioned. Better family values. Look at the mental health issues in America. Look at the family bringing up these children. And by the way, I did hear from a good source today, not that this is just a side note, the smoke alarm evidently went off from the firearm coming out of the smoke from the AR-15, which is not an assault rifle. So the dog's here. For those of you who are watching this and don't know that. And thank God the school had hurricane-proof windows on the exterior, because the shooter, from a source to me today, was trying to shoot through the exterior windows to shoot more victims, but the bullets did not go through the hurricane-proof glass. Here's a good suggestion. How about every room have hurricane-type proof glass and make each room like a vault so it's a true lockdown? There's a good suggestion. So to sum it up, law enforcement, military-type people at each door, and we need more of a caring nature towards law enforcement in this country, so the children are not afraid of them. We need them to bond with law enforcement, for them to realize that they are here to protect our lives. And everything that's going on in America, we just kind of need to revert back to the way we were 30, 40 years ago, and then use modern technology to protect our children. Those doors need to be electronically controlled to keep the bad guys from going in, keep the children safe. We need glass on all the schoolrooms, so if a whack job does get in there with a firearm, at least they're locked in there and they're safe. We need to make sure whack jobs can't get into the school in the first place. Our most precious thing is our children. We have to protect them. We don't want to ever see this again in America. And with modern technology, and as smart as we are, we can put men on the moon. We have technology, as we know, that's so advanced from just 100 years ago where the country came till today, but we can't protect our children in schools. To me, that's appalling. And it's not taking away guns that's going to be the answer. It's going to be more protection for the students in the schools, and we'll see the end of school shootings. And gun-free zones have to come to an end, because bad guys do not follow laws, as we know. This shooter broke every law in the books. Signs on a building saying no guns allowed for legally concealed weapons holders for civilians is not going to stop a whack job from going in there. They specifically look for these places to harm people. Throw in your comments, and that's what I have to say here from Ground Zero. My prayers are with my whole community. The families, I can't fathom what they're going through. One of my neighbors lost his daughter. It's hitting home for me, and I'm keeping my 2 children out of school for the next week. We're going to go stay at our Palm Beach property for the next week, so I can let them go through their healing as a father, and because they are very distraught. And then I'll have them go back to school when I feel things are a little bit back to normal and there's more safety in the schools, hopefully by then, which I think will happen. I pray for all the souls that you see behind me, and I really don't have much more to say except throw in your comments. Let me know if I struck a chord with anyone, and this is just surreal to me. And it's not supposed to happen in America. We're better than that. Train your children to find the Lord and have love in their heart. If you see problems with your children, get them the psychiatric care they need. Don't be embarrassed. My name is Tom from Weapons Education. Please subscribe. Thank you. Leave your comments. And again, I pray for all of us in America and my community. Please pan around again as the sun sets. It is a very somber mood here. Thank you, and God bless all of you.